Hi, my name is Josh Fitkin, and I'm the youth pastor here at House of Worship in Grand Lake, Louisiana. When Cole and I were discussing what to talk about in the first video on this website, he had just asked me to share my testimony, and it made me think of what really is my testimony. And I think it's a hard question for a lot of Christians to answer. My testimony is I was raised in a Christian home. My parents have been pastors for my entire life, being youth pastors, children's pastors, associate pastors at different churches. And right now they are the head pastors of House of Worship, where I go. And basically my testimony, when I think back on my young life and growing up in church, I really didn't think that I had one. I didn't think that my testimony was anything worth hearing. But Revelation 12:11 says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And I think that makes it important that we not only tell others what our testimony is, but we look back to what our own testimony is and let that drive us and let us remember where we came from and how much better we have it now. So, like I said, I was raised in a Christian household for my entire life. When I was 8 years old, I got saved and gave my life to the Lord and got baptized. And from then on, I've been living for God. But the great thing about having pastors that are also your parents is they kind of ingrained in my brother and I when we were growing up to not let God just be the God of my parents that are pastors. They encouraged us to find God for ourselves and create our own and find our own reason why we are Christians and why we believe in this thing called Christianity and why we follow God the way that we do. And it really hit me, and it really got pointed out to me right whenever my parents started full-time ministry, whenever they got called to start their own church. And I saw my dad was working at the plants at the time. My mom was staying at home taking care of us in the house. And I remember them and just going through we would have church in the house. So we would set up on Saturday, and on Sunday morning we would have sometimes 10 people, sometimes 50 to 60 people in our living room hearing the word. And I remember looking back and, looking around my own living room and seeing lives changed and seeing people just touched by God. But what sticks out to me when I look back and when God became my God and not just the God of, mom and dad that are pastors, is when about 2 or 3 years into About 2 or 3 years into our ministry, Dad got called to quit his job. He was, like I said, he was working at the plants at the time. So he got called to leave a job that was giving him 6 figures a year, health insurance, and really anything that he could ever ask for. And he got called to do full-time ministry. And I remember sitting down, my parents sat us down in the living room, and they just told us. They said, God's calling me to quit my job at the plant. And they said, that might mean that we have to change our lifestyle a little bit, because up until that point, we were very comfortable. We always had everything that we needed. We had most of the stuff that we wanted. We were involved in the community, and we did a lot of extracurricular activities. And my dad said, our lifestyle might have to change. And I remember Dad almost jokingly saying, we might even have to turn the cable off. Because if you think about it from a worldly perspective, you go from 6 figures a year to a few $100s a month in just like that. So to a kid, I was in my sophomore, junior year of high school. So to me, that was frightening. That was a frightening moment in my life. And I remember we sat on the couch, and when he said that, I got real quiet, and I didn't say anything for a long time because I didn't know what to say, because we had never I had never had anything that big and that impactful happen in my life up to that point. So I was just sitting there. We might not have even be able to afford cable anymore, thinking about that. And then I remembered all of the sermons that I'd heard over the years and all of the testimonies from other people that I'd heard over the years. And I said, okay, let's do it. If God's calling us to do it, let's go for it. And I remember my brother said the exact same thing. So it was it was a unifying moment in our lives as a family, and it really brought us together. But the testimony isn't the fact that I said, okay, let's do it. Where the testimony comes from is we never had to turn the cable off. And our lifestyle never changed. Yeah, we went from bringing in, like I said, 6 figures a year to a few $100s a month. But God always provided. Whether it was people giving us money just because they said, here, I want you to take this check because God told me to give it to you. Or whether it was us finding money in cooking pots. Or just crazy stories like that where it had to be God and we couldn't be convinced otherwise. The fact that our lifestyle never had to change, and the fact that we never had to miss out on anything that we wanted to do, any activity that we wanted to do, we went and did it. We went on vacations. We had multiple vehicles. Each one of us in the family had a vehicle and still have vehicles. And when I look back and I had to ask myself, what is my testimony? That is my testimony. And that just shows to me how powerful our God is, and that He is so willing to take care of everything that we could ever need. And as long as we're following His plan for our life, and as long as we're doing what He has for us to do, He's going to take care of us. And that's what I would like to share with you today, is no matter what God asks you to do it. And you won't regret it.